Test, 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 test. So you can already see that you don't see much. Where is the camera? Right up there, exactly up there is the camera. Because for a change, I'm not playing the lead role. This guy here, this is a Hämmerli 400. It has, how should I put it, a triple meaning, even without me smiling at the camera as friendly as I am. First of all, it's for the amusement of the rabble. It's you. Secondly, I'm trying to sell this thing, or rather, I will sell it on Airgun, starting at around €1 or so. And for that, I need some photos, so I might as well make a video out of it. They always say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video is worth 1,000 pictures. Yeah, I'm looking up there, the monitor is here, that's why you can't see any of that, which is why I keep looking over here. And the third thing is, I also want to know from the people in the forum, what exactly is this model? Because that's not so easy, since this thing doesn't even have a serial number. They weren't mandatory back then, but it's an interesting story that I'll tell shortly. And I've already looked into it, so this square friend, for example, doesn't match at all with the round trigger guard, which is obviously original, except that I wrapped it in leather at some point. So in old photos, you can also see a square forward-angled trigger guard, just like the Forender. So the design language of the years, I'm not selling the scope with it, so I'm going to take it off right away, just to make that clear. And I only put that on to take a shot group. I just happened to have this here, as luck would have it. Maybe with backlighting, so this was shot at 10 meters, and I was sitting down with a rest. And I got 5 shots in. More than I actually expected. Because I can already say this. I'm happily screwing away here. That this device here has, wait a minute, was it 2.5, right? Yeah. It has a mainspring. Because it needs to be set for 2 and 3. It has a mainspring. Only produces 2 joules now. That's definitely not as much as at the beginning of his career. And something else. I can't even imagine what kind of leap must have happened in the last 50 years. So, in the meantime, I can start telling the story. And this air rifle. I got my hands on it when I was just a young and curious adolescent lad by annoying my mom until she finally bought me an air rifle. I was 15 or 16 then. From today's perspective, of course, it's a deadly crime, but back then, to be honest, you could buy them freely in the store, and nobody cared about air rifles. I'm just trying to get the labeling in here. Somewhere here, right? There it is. You can see it. If necessary, you have to go to a still image. As I said, there is no serial number. And take a look at the system sleeve as well. So everything is covered with a bit of surface rust. Can you see the barrel here? Can you see it? Yeah, I hope so. And, well, that thing, when I was 15 or 16, it was 1970 or no, 77 or 78. That means that according to this calculation, this thing is a fluffy 45. Bish, bish. Or 46 years old and has been in my possession the whole time. The front sight is gone. It hasn't shown up again in my junk box. The same goes for the rear sight. That's gone too. And also to mention here, you see, there was normally one here. Yeah, where was she? Was she... I think I was down here. There was a small U-shaped spring here that really only had the job, making sure that this lever doesn't just flop down. When shooting, it never bothered me, because when you shoot, my fingers come around here to the front anyway. That means I always had the lever in my grip. Why am I telling this in such detail? That means I always had the lever in my grip anyway. Why am I telling this in such detail? Because the only reason for someone buy this thing, I think the labeling is better here. The only reason to buy this thing is if you're a collector, and a collector wants to know exactly what kind of part it is and which version it is, and has no problem with certain things, such as to reinstall a hop-up spring. Well, that's why I'm going into so much detail. By the way, you might even learn something. So, those of you who are just here to gawk, those who are here to buy, they'll probably be interested too. Look, a long screw. Here was a short screw, as far as I remember. an extremely short screw. Actually, I wanted to skip the tinkering and screwing part, but thanks to my interesting presentation, which will fascinate one or the other, we can just keep that in as well. Yeah, that's part of the show. And here's another long screw. So I remember there was a washer here. No, wait, a spring is underneath here. No, what's it called again? Oh, that's just a washer. We'll take a look at that. Trigger guard. A thingamajig here, exactly. A flat piece of metal. This is what it looks like. And the trigger guard. For some reason, I found it incredibly important as a teenager that there was somehow leather wrapped around here. The same goes for the cocking lever, by the way. That one isn't originally wrapped in leather either. That was me. I found that somehow incredibly important, so why am I even disassembling this thing? That's why, as far as I remember, an expert can tell what exact variant this is by looking at this lower part. I'll hold it a little closer to the camera. This is what it looks like. Apparently Hämmerli made different versions of it, varied slightly. And you could see that there... No, I didn't find a serial number down here either. So it really seems like there isn't one. Yeah, I just wanted to show that now I can screw it back together. I saw online that this might be a model 495, which was also sold under the name Puma M. But that's very vague. If you want to know more about it, there's this nice site, muzel.com. So Muzzel, M-U-Z-L-E.com, something like that. I think it's somewhat of a German site. 2001, and he's somehow collecting photos of all kinds of guns. And that has become quite an interesting archive of gun history. So this one comes from the nicer side. I think it's nicer, so let's maybe put it on the outside. So if my own rambling gets too boring, I might just jump into the video. Hey, your video has a jump. You seem to have a jump in the video. Yeah, I've already gotten to the dad jokes. Yeah, it's always nice when everything fits right away. That used to be Hämmerli, before it was just a cover name for some Chinese imports. How does this thing shoot? Yeah, I just saw it. It still shoots, but only with about 2 joules of muzzle energy. 1.8 to 2 joules? That is, I have somewhere. I recently got this great radar crony, and I've been measuring a lot with it. And I might just show the shot values right here, while I'm tinkering. 20 shots, all measured. So by chance, I didn't pick the prettiest one, but this just happens to be exactly like the shield half here. I didn't spend hours shooting at it until one finally worked. I zeroed in the 2001 scope, and then took 5 shots at it, and that was it. That's the result. Pretty satisfactory if you ask me, but spring could maybe be improved. So, stock is, as you can probably easily tell, kind of a greenish color, so it's a weird color. I don't know why or how. The photos I've seen are somehow dark, stained, or otherwise altered. You can still see on the trigger that I had a lot of fun with this thing in my younger years. The bluing might be a bit worn in color. Yeah. What else should I really say about it? The story is really that my mom bought me this thing, and I know for sure that it's practically been in my possession my whole life. I can't say for sure, was it 15, was it 16, maybe even 18, I have no idea. If anyone can figure out exactly when this particular model was made, then you can also say pretty accurately how old I was back then. At the moment, yes. Yeah. I don't have a Diablo in right now, and I know you're not supposed to shoot empty, but since we have a roller here, I can just close the roller, and now nothing comes out. Like with a silencer. It just goes whoosh. Better than with a silencer. So, I actually thought this would turn into a longer video because I had so much to say about it. But I actually don't. I have a lot of memories about that thing. All the silly stuff I did with it. I had shaped a big modeling clay figure just out of regular clay. And then I shot holes in it and very carefully examined where the hole is bigger, where it's smaller, what a bullet hole looks like, and so on. That's just what young people get up to, all sorts of nonsense. Yeah, I did a lot of silly things in my younger years. Yeah. Don't know. If you want to know anything else, As long as I can answer the question, then I'm happy to. And if you want to see any close-ups or photos, just let me know. We'll figure it out somehow. I'm selling all of this through Egan, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. For those who don't know Egan, eBay doesn't deal with weapons. Egan only deals with weapons. Weapons to hear, everything that goes with it. Knock on wood. It's turned out much shorter than I thought. Somehow there's not much to say. For me, this is just a story 2001. So it's not that I'm emotionally attached and thinking, oh, now this beautiful rifle is going away or anything like that. My God, it has served its purpose. But I do have a lot of memories that are somehow connected to it. For that, I also plan to take a photo of it so I can reflect on those memories. But I have a lot of memories that are somehow linked to this. That's why I'm also planning to take a photo of it so I can reflect on those memories. For example, that I had an intense hate relationship with the magpies. Back then, I always slept with the window open, and since I was young, I could really sleep for a long time. So not in the sense that I didn't have to go to school, but I could really sleep for hours because I was young. I can sleep in as much as I want. And the magpies would always start making noise outside the window early. Unfortunately, I had to give particularly weak salute shots. I never hit one, not a single one in all those shots. But at least those critters flew away, right? Yeah, okay. Hours. You can tell I'm completely at a loss. I thought I had something to share about KM, but unfortunately I don't have a story to tell. Even with a serial number, it wouldn't be safe. Finding out when this good piece was made would be great. Come on, I'll hold it a bit closer. You probably want to see a bit more about how the tension lever is designed, what it looks like in terms of material, whether there's any rust on it, and so on. Just turn it a bit back and forth, then you can take a look. Yeah, I know, I'm staring intently at the monitor again, but unfortunately I can't avoid it right now. For those who find something important about the butt cap, is there anything written on it? No, it's just a target-like thing. Yeah. I actually just checked again to see if I could find the corn tunnel and the rear sight, but they are among the few parts that have really gone down the memory hole. Nothing else ever gets thrown away with me. I never throw anything away, especially not anything related to weapons, but they probably got lost during the move at some point. Alright, so whoever wants to shoot this thing either put a new sight on it, or a Zephyr barrel, or integrate it into the collection because they've never had a Hämmerli 401 before. And for anyone who wants a 401, I think that's going to be tough. There aren't many of those left. I looked on the internet and I don't think there's any video about it at all. America? There are Americans who still sell these things or sold them 10 years ago. Yeah, and getting one of this good piece here in Germany now is interesting. This is going to be an interesting endeavor. That's why I say lectors. So, I thank you all once again for your 2001 angelic patience, and wish you all the things you wish for me. And that's coming from the guy whose touchscreen isn't working, and who has to get up and turn off the camera, all by himself, from the other side with the mouse. What a life.